Tonight's show, we're talking about spiritual woo-woo, bad juju. Stay tuned to find out what that means. And I'm answering all your questions with live readings coming up right now.
Does it look like a Devin or David?
David is his name. It's been so spot on.
And I don't know if you put it in the side of your end table or not. You look like there's something in your end table that you this too.
I got that. We're crazy.
Yeah.
You might be hard on your right knee when you're running. Make sure you're not too hard on the right knee.
100%.
Okay.
Honey, I'm a runway walker. Okay.
He's saying to work with some sort of like vibrational machine. Somehow a way to work with like machinery and vibration.
I work with horses, and there's actually some magnawave therapy that's vibrational.
Tell me something that he told you that came true.
Everything he's predicted has come true.
I just don't see it.
And he doesn't have cancer?
It's very possible.
Allow yourself to hear yourself. Allow yourself to feel yourself. Allow yourself to talk to yourself. Allow yourself to respond to yourself. That's looking within.
You might encounter negative aspects of self, but that's a freeing experience.
Because then they start realizing that they can't think outside the box. And I say, if you can't think outside the box, then who's the stupid one here? The ascension is not just planet Earth, it's actually galactic. It's all interdimensional. And I think that, again, we have to understand our participation in that process. So I don't just come on here and talk bullshit and repeat. I'm living this stuff.
In harmony with nature, in a mystical adventure, we're building on a vulture.
Happy Thursday Night Live, everybody. Welcome to the Cruisyverse. How has your all's week been going? How's it going? We have Neptune and Jupiter in retrograde, and tonight we have a blood moon eclipse at, I think, 10:09 p.m. Pacific time, which is 1:09 Eastern time, which will be on Friday. So, a lot of energy shifting, a lot of energy of transformation, reflection, of course, all these things, all these freaking retrogrades and all this stuff. It's all about transformation. We can say about everything, but primarily I feel like, right now it's all about reflection. It's all about looking at oneself, making the decisions. You might be questioning a lot about what you're doing, not doing, and that's okay because we're actually navigating our own directions and bringing some change. So that's what this shiz is all about. So, there's going to be like a lot of, I would say, spurts of energy, right? Bursts of energy, down of energy, burst of energy, down of energy. So there's going to be a lot of that kind of push and pull, forward and backward energy movements, energy, both figuratively. So, a lot of tiredness, a lot of fatigue, a lot of people getting sick, getting ill, coming up with stupid little syndromes and that so forth. And a lot of people who are not really prepared for the ascension, we'll get into that too, are kind of having side effects of these shifts and changes, which is why a lot of this stuff happens at once. So, and tonight's topic is spiritual woo-woo, bad juju. So I'm going to get into the fact of what does that really mean? Like, does really be getting into all these spiritual things, do they work? Are they real? Is it all fluff and duff? And how can you tell? And could that actually do a disservice to you and create the opposite results when you're diving into these kind of nonsensical, spiritual, phony, woo-woo shiznits? So we'll get into that and also how to identify. But before that, and after the collective read, we have Iggy coming on. I'm having Iggy coming on to talk about the eclipse energy. What does that mean astrologically and energetically? So we get the kind of a real deal of what the astro is telling us about this eclipse. So stay tuned for that. And then we'll have, of course, our wonderful message from Nina, and then a sound bath, live readings, all that great stuff. Let's see who's chatty Cathy in the room here, shall we? Jennifer Cruz, my maker, is in the room. Hello. Amal Ford, good to see you. Brenda Zweck, David Cruz, my father. Good, always on board with my mom and dad, of course, right? Valley Hack, love and light to you too. Christina Noel, Darby Maybury. Oh, Mayberry. I'm sorry. I was thinking Burberry. And wonderful Mod Nina is in the room now. If you want to get a question in tonight, please get them in now. I'm going to close them early because I got a full day ahead. So get them in now. It's $15 for a card pool, $20 for one question, $30 for two questions, and $40 for a live video with moi. And it could only be through Venmo on the live video because it's the only way I can respond back and give you a link to call in. So get those questions in now. And remember, the card pulls are very simple. It's like a little simple message for you. The questions can be more refined, and we're not doing full-on readings here, of course. course, because we don't have the time to allot for a full 45-minute session like I usually provide, but you get great insight of where things are going now. And so, and any questions, a wonderful Monita will help you. PayPal and Venmo links are in the description below. She will assist in getting that going. Okay. Colette Love, good to see you. Iggy, can't you see? Woohoo, mofos. He's about to be on in any minute now. I'm about to see Iggy live in action. So he's getting ready backstage. Oh, well, we're going to get it backstage soon. Jody Randall, good to see you. Ron, good to see you as well. Ash, hello. Angie Russell, Casklo, Boohoo, Juju, Yahoo. Hi, y'all. I love the rhyme. It's really great. Who else is chatting? Kathy in the room here. Siciliana Fruitite. Sorry if I'm butchering that. The text is this big on my end on my big screen. Sorry for that if I missed it, but hello to you. Crazy Coconut's good to see you. She says, hello, I'm very thankful for your insight, a wisdom in pure Aquarius mode. Thank you for that, my love. Yes, we got some aquas. We're going to have some double aquas tonight as well. And who else is chatting? Kelly Cat 515. Hello to you. Welcome aboard. BL and everybody else is watching. I cannot see who you can always see who's chatting in the Kathy. Your privacy, thank God. Welcome aboard. Those who are new, I will start with the collective read. I do utilize tarot and oracle cards for the collective read. I don't need it. You know, I'm a psychic medium, but it's a great way to guide me of saying, hey, look here, because messages week to week can be repetitive. And so not massive changes will happen week to week. We're going on a momentum here. So sometimes things will be repetitive, but I try the best that I can as an aqua to make sure I'm spicing it up. Even if the message might be a little consistent, we'll find different ways of expressing that. Okay. So, but a lot of times we're all on the same boat. And so we have to, you know, we got to go along the journey together, and sometimes there'll be a lot of consistencies and a lot of repetitiveness. So let's just shuffle these cards. And before I do, let me drop the AC because I know I'm going to start getting hot, and then my sniffles and all that great stuff. Let me just drop this real quick before I usually like a sensible 74, but when I'm like doing this 70. I have to either sleep at 70 degrees or make it 70 degrees when I'm under these lights here. Okay. Let's get into it. Shuffle. And primarily this will be for the week too, but I mean, I like to do week-to-week forecasts on my show, but I also want to bring up any information that's just needed too, because like I said, the week-to-weeks could be repetitive, but we'll see if there's any additional information that we just need to talk about, and see what the cards will say in retrospect to that. Okay. What does Jody say here while I'm shuffling? That blue velvet top reminds me of a velvet cat suit I wore when I was 27 in the 90s. It felt fabulous. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for velvet. But the past year or two, I've been really into velvet. I don't know why. It's just one of those things. I never used to like velvet, you know. All right, so shuffling. Let's see here. Gotta read these here because I'm scrapping those cards. I don't like them. And I think this is indicative of the message that's about to happen too. Because scrambling. Okay, here we go. Okay, this is great. Now, some oracles. Thank you, Casklo. I appreciate that. However I look is how I feel. I always feel like, you know, I present looks based on what I'm feeling. So. Awesome. Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, let's get this going here. And give me a couple seconds just to tune into my guides real quick. All right. Okay. The past. Let's talk about it, shall we, for a moment? Because I know a lot of people say they emphasize a lot about don't think of the past, don't stay in the past, get out of the past. And it's like, we can resist all we want about how we should not look at the past, but what good is that really doing? You see, if you keep emphasizing things that have happened in your past and you keep reflecting or keep going to go back to the past, there is a reason why you keep going back to the past. And so it's not just about the fact you have to keep talking about it, because talking about it is just kind of the hamster in the wheel energy, movement, no progression. You're just kind of like stuck in a loop in a sense. But you got to look outside of the fact is, why do I keep talking about that past? Am I not quite over the experiences that I experienced in that past? Have I not pulled the key, that lesson out of that past, circumstance or the past experiences that I've had? And the question is always going to be, yes, I haven't done that. Or no, I haven't done that. However you want to pose the question or pose the answer in that way. No, I haven't done that. Or yes, I'm not looking at the circumstances. So the key is saying to yourself, we should not be afraid about talking, looking, and dissecting the past, because I think it's very important for us to look and dissect things of our past, because one, we can find the things that we appreciate. Two, we can find the root, our roots, so to speak, or the root of situations or causes that created the versions that we are today, so we can identify where things have began, but also go back to our roots in the sense of understanding things that really make us tick in a positive sense, that make us passionate, right? The things that we always were driven to do. Because when we're at an early age or the earlier phases in our lives, we have that passion. We just incarnated. So we have a lot of that soul excitement, that soul determination. And so it's always good to go back to remember the periods where we were unfiltered, unscathed by society, and we weren't so deeply involved in what we've inherited from our parents in the negative sense. We were fresh at that point. So it's good to go back and say, I was fresh at those periods of times. I was clearer. I was more determined. I was unfiltered. I was not swayed by people's opinions or emotions of me. I just kind of just did things and had excitement, or had more fun. See, when we go back to the past, we need to pull the reasons why we want to go into the past. So the whole thing about being present is always misunderstood. And like I said, it's so cliche. There's not one of those spiritual woo-woo things we'll get into as well about the past and, being present and only being focused on the present. And it's like, there's reasons to do that, and there's times to do that. And what present really means is that you're actually allowing yourself to feel what you're feeling in the present day. And you're not, I would say, abandoning what you're feeling in the present day, and you're confronting and adjusting to what you feel today to make things better for the future. But sometimes to do that, we have to go back into the past to rearrange certain things of our intellect, realize, that's redundant, but realize certain things that we may have missed in our past incarnations, right? So these are things we want to make sure we understand, because if your mind keeps going back to the past, there's a reason why. We want to find out what that reason is, instead of just with this spiritual mojo of be present, don't let go of the past. And I always say too, when you're holding on to something, it's because you're not able to grab onto something else. What is that reason? And what is the reason why you're holding on? Right? Because there's two folds to this when it comes to the imagination and, not, associating or addressing your past, is you end up living in a state of delusion. Because when you're trying to bypass experiences that you've had, or circumstances you've had, or how you've been treated, or the things you felt, you start becoming a person that you're not. You start behaving as a person that you're not, because you're bypassing things of yourself that need to evolve. And so you're not actually being true to yourself. And this is usually when people get very fixated on trying to manifest relationships, or trying to manifest, love of their life, or try to, conquer those goals to make them feel better, but they never feel better because they tried to bypass the evolution of the true self, because they tried to push the past and sweep it under the rug. Nothing else was satisfying, right? And so that is the illusion, right? And that is very Neptune energy. And I thank you, Jody, for saying that too, because that this seven of cups, excuse me, I'm even stumbling, is really all about the illusion, and staying in delusion too, right? So we got to be very able to confront what we're feeling and what the thing, and grab onto things that we were missing and evolve from them and shape them, because that's how you truly let go. We talk about letting go all the time. Oh, let go, just let go. Don't hold on, let go. And it's like, do people really know what letting go means? And again, I'm repetitive about this as well, like almost week to week too, because people still understand what letting go really means. And letting go means that you're disassociating yourself from those experiences by evolving from them and understanding where your wisdom and your power really resonates and really derives from because of those circumstances, which allows you to release the heartache, the trauma responses that you've been, carrying for such a long time, right? The skewed perspective that those experiences have created for you to see life in a very limited sort of way. Because what we do is when you sweep the past under the rug, we tend to then unconsciously, we associate everything of those past experiences with the future. Meaning that, again, if you've been abused as a child and you swept that under the rug, well, you're going to seek out abusive relationships unconsciously because you're trying to avoid looking at that. But that's all you know. All you know is abuse. All you know is being deprived of love. So how are you going to understand what it's like to recognize you've been deprived of love if you keep putting yourself in circumstances where you're deprived of love? Right? So we will continue to seek out the things that we're resisting, the things that we're failing to look at. We'll continue subconsciously on the soul level, seek it out so we can snap ourselves out of it and wake ourselves up to it. But the only way to get a clear indication if you're doing that is, one, to identify if you're in a loop, yes, but understand, have you resolved your past? Are you at peace with it? You see, because so many people with their past circumstances, I just can't think about it, just can't talk about it, right? And they just want to avoid it. Instead of saying, yeah, this happened to me and I'm in testimony. I create testimonies about the experiences I've been through, right? You'd have that position. Or you just kind of, yeah, it happened and it's all good. I resolved in it. You could discuss it. You could be objective about it. That's how you cleared it out. But if you're constantly talking about it in the other retrospect, where you're just like, you can't shut up about it, like everything, an excuse, yeah, but I was abused. Yeah, but I was abused. Yeah, but I was abused. And you keep just bringing that up and cycling and cycling and cycling. Guess what? You ain't over it. And you're looking for validation in the present because the past is unresolved. So it'd be a lot easier for you to be more conscious of that unsettled of the past if you are the one if you do keep talking and bringing it up and associating it with everything. But if you don't talk about it, you still push it on the rug, you're still subconsciously going to seek those situations out in your modern day relationships or circumstances. And they will repeat until you actually expand from that lesson. See, because the soul has a mission. The mission isn't to get that house, the car, and all that stuff, the physical stuff we always talk about, but that's not the goal here. The soul's like, I need to grow and expand. And I'm going to do it at all costs. If that means I'm going to give myself that illness because I wasn't listening to myself, then I'll give myself that illness. If it means I'm going to bang my body around a little bit so I can snap out of it and immobilize myself so I can be forced to look at my emotions, then so be it. The soul will do it. If that means the soul will pull the job underneath from you, then so be it. So the soul knows and has its mission, and then we need to be in alignment to what the soul mission is, so therefore we don't start experiencing the repercussions of the side effects of being deprived in the physical sense, which means loss, lack of power, lack of inspiration, lack of direction, lack of clarity, right? Not knowing the self. That's what being lost is. So, and I love that the death card came in reverse for this, because the death card is all about transformation. But failing to look at the past and creating that sense of illusion, right? It actually prevents you from transforming. It prevents you from moving forward. And the key component to our transformation is what's standing around us. I always say, you know exactly where you stand in life based on what's standing around you. It's all a mirror image of what you're projecting and where you stand in your own life, energetically, psychologically, emotionally, right? All those things. But failing to look at these things or address them, it prevents you from transforming on the soul level, on the physical level, on all levels. And they will repeat until you do. But we need to look at these things, these circumstances in our lives, as ways that we're actually allowed ourselves to blossom, like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon. You know, we're trapped in a little cave, right? And then we have to grow and push against the resistance. And then we emerge from the cocoon and emerge to be a beautiful butterfly. Right? That's what physical reality is about. We're trying to merge and become those beautiful soul butterflies. So we can understand we have the freedom to fly where we wish to fly, and to be and to do what we wish to do, and to emerge into beauty, and to take the dark, turn it to light. Darkness is a void energy. We spawn creation. Without darkness, it cannot be creation. So that's what we're here to do. We're playing the magician game here in physical reality. But we have to identify our trajectory, The past experience, how does the past link into the present day, and how does the present day create the future experiences? And when you're in sync with all levels, all points of view of your trajectory and time of your experience and existence, you start driving the show. You're not concerned about, I don't want a challenge. You start saying, a challenge is kind of exciting to me because I understand I'm going to learn more and gain more insight and more power, and I'll be able to accomplish more in my life. Bring it on. You wouldn't be seen as an obstacle or poor me and I'm just, when is it going to end? It's like, it'll end when you begin. It'll end when you start to begin the process of understanding that you're stronger than what you pretend to be. And you have the abilities to transform, and the challenges are there to remind you, remember what you came here for? Remember what you signed up for? Remember the things that you want to grow on? Here they are. It's a reminder. I can't take so much of it. It's like, but you signed up for this. If you say, I'm going to put love into these circumstances, watch how life changes, and it's through those channels of challenge that you will find the things that you've been desiring for your whole life. Believe it or not. I was, dealing with my mom and taking care of my mom, and it was so, just caretaking everybody. Everyone's sick, and I'm just like lost, and just like, when is it going to end? And so, and then you realize that, I'm just going to put love into caretaking my family member. I'm going to put love into that. I'm not going to resist this and say, poor is me. I'm so stressed. I'm going to understand my value and expression through these experiences. And then you show up, you have a vibrant energy when you go to see your mom, whoever you're caretaking in the hospital or at home. We'll say hospital for the sake of my point here. And you show up, you have a lovely essence, you're very personable to those around you, those that work there. And then one day you walk in and you meet a male nurse, and boom, you hit it off and start dating and you get married. Everything that we're supposed to engage with, whether you understand it or not, if it's in your life, you're supposed to engage with it. Choose to engage with it, and everything you're wanting will manifest through those channels. Everything. You won't believe how I've seen people meet people, how I've met people. You wouldn't believe of how the job opportunities manifest and unfold for you. But they can only manifest through your purpose, your divine purpose. And you can understand more of what that is based on your past experiences in this incarnation. You don't have to go back to past life and have past life regressions to understand that. You can see the clear patterns in this incarnation. But you have to acknowledge and identify and desire to want to change it instead of making excuses for why things haven't changed. And when we identify this and we look at our story as a whole, then we understand ourselves as a whole, we continue to grow. A candy striper. Christina. Male nurse, nursing you to health. And I love the oracle cards are kind of confirming the message. It's all about blossoming here. It's about, you have to understand, it's all about how you blossoming. If you're sitting and complaining about things, you're not blossoming. It's like, but what's happened? What was me? And I have all these challenges in my life. It's like, you ever thought about you're paying back karma for things too? You ever think that like you're also playing karmic debt and you have to experience these things too, and you're not going to get out of that cycle of karma until you resolve it? Ready to blossom. And I love that assessing too comes after that as well with the oracle card. It's like you're looking for that information. You're looking for the information within yourself and the true purpose, the true meaning of things. And so, I could say take things at face value, but I would say you could take things at face value when it comes to, the spiritual meaning behind things at face value in that sense. But if you take things at face value when it comes to physicality, you're going to miss the spiritual lesson underneath it. So we gotta look deeper. We gotta go and assess the deeper cause and root cause of things that are happening or circumstances that keep repeating in one's life. We have to do that. Because then we do, that's when things come to fruition. Now, when I say fruition, I'm really talking about the things that you really want to come to fruition, right? On the soul level, we're wanting everything, even the bad stuff we don't like, that we cry about. We always want that to come to fruition. We ordain it to. But the more in tune you become yourself, you understand that everything is a valuable experience that you've chosen, that you signed up for, that you need to digest in order for you to make the realization that you have to make change. Nothing becomes hard for you. Nothing becomes a detriment. Nothing becomes like a pain in the ass, so to speak. Right? Let me pull a couple more cards in this and see what the conclusion is. I thought I put the air on here, but it's not. I have to make sure it's the air, not the heat, because I'm burning up for your love. I'm burning up. Yeah, it's 78. I need it down to 71. Yeah, the heat was on. That's why. not the AC. So we're going to bring it down, make it nice and cool in here. Interesting. The 10 of Pentacles. You know, and then we're going to keep this simple, guys, as a reminder, not so much trying to be overly philosophic and overly deep. We're going to keep this very simple as a reminder. Know your worth. What are you worth? A lot of you guys, you know, haven't been expressing your worth. You might say, I don't know what I'm worth. Well, it's time to start configuring and ask yourself, what do I need to express? What should I be expressing? What do I want to express, but I haven't because of, I'm afraid of starting it. I'm afraid of like doing it. I don't know how to get things started. Well, nothing is ever going to begin if you don't start it, right? None of this is ever going to gain momentum if you don't just try doing something or launching something forward. What is your worth? And it could be on the most simplistic levels of understanding what your worth is and getting that in gear and building up that momentum. But if you can't answer the question what your worth is, it's time to start working on your self-worth. Because like, well, I don't know. Well, then what are you participating in? If you don't know your worth, then what are you participating in? And if you're not participating in anything other than work, then how do you expect the things that you want to manifest or the relationships that you're trying to obtain, how do you expect them to find you or get to you if you don't even know that you're worth it or not? Somebody else is supposed to see something that you don't? It can happen at times, but you won't be. If someone sees a light within you that you do not see, and they tell you about it, you won't believe it. How many times with especially females in particularly, you tell a female, oh, you look pretty today. No, I don't. I look fat. It's like, no, you look great. You ladies won't believe it. As much as you tell you look great. No, you don't. You won't believe it because you don't feel it. You won't feel it. The same thing is that when you're stuck in your crapola and you're stuck in your mishigosh and you're stuck in your, challenges, and you're not expressing anything, someone could be like, oh, you're wonderful. No, I'm not. I don't think so. No, you won't accept it. You won't receive it, and you'll push the love of your life away from you. I see that happen all the time. Or you get scared. Oh, I'm just, they're too good for me. Or you'll go in the essence of, I'm not worth their attention. Or you'll start saying, they just something up their sleeves. You'll be suspicious of them. They're just flattering you. They're seeing something within you don't see, so you're not going to validate it. You're not going to receive it. You're not going to accept it because you don't believe it or feel it for yourself. So it's not just knowing your worth. What is your worth? What are you worth? And I'm sure, and most of you guys, if I ask that question, are you going to say, I'm not worth anything? Many of you guys, if anyone says that they're not worth anything, I'll say, then why do you have desires? Because your desires is an indication that you're worth something. Well, I want this because you believe you deserve, that you should have that. Well, if you believe you deserve, you should have an experience and be treated well. Well, then you know you're worth something. Pull that out. Pull that out of yourself. What am I worth? Are you worth love? Are you worth companionship? Are you worth consideration? Are you worth appreciation? It's not just about feeling good in this lifetime. I'm here to feel good. No. There's other reasons of feeling good. And what does feeling good even mean for you to feel good? See, we all have different parameters of what feeling good means. Some people say, I feel good because for me particularly, I feel good when I'm being creative. And I'm expressing my talents and skill sets. That's when I feel good. And then alternately, I feel great when people appreciate it. Then it's like a rabbit hole of feeling good because I feel good of what I'm doing. I feel good of how I'm expanding. I feel good of how I'm expressing. And then I feel good when I'm being appreciated for it. Whole bunch of goodness. And then I understand the value behind what I find value that others will find valuable. That's the cycle. But you'll never know that until you put yourself out on the cliff. Well, maybe I shouldn't use cliff, but at least put yourself out there to experience or to express whatever value that you want to grow and expand on, for that to be expressed so people then also can see the value in it too. But there's some adjustments that you have to do. You have to choose that first, and there's going to be some uncomfortable energy. It may not feel organic for the time being. Your brain is going to be in the way a lot of the time. Because our brain is the filter of physical reality. So you're going to have to push through the psychological limitations, resolve the psychological limitations or unnecessary beliefs that prevent you from moving forward, in order for you to get comfortable with what you want to express. Because you know what the gateway to confidence is? Comfortability. The more comfortable you are at something, the more confident you are at it. Just think about, and I always use an analogy, but I'll use another one instead. Instead of the bike analogy, I'm going to use a driving analogy. When we were first learning how to drive, we weren't very comfortable. Making a turn, we had to think heavily about putting on our blinkers and parallel parking. Like, it was just, we were not comfortable. So therefore, we were not very confident at driving. But once we learned it, we got very associated with it, and we connected with it. We became very comfortable with it. Then we're so comfortable, we're so confident we can drive with our eyes closed, on the phone, putting the leg up in their dashboard and shaving your legs while you're driving, eating. I see so many things that people do while they're driving. They're so confident in their driving skills, And so I saw some brushing their teeth while they're driving. I mean, I've seen it, right? But that's only because they were comfortable with it. They become confident. So if you're not confident in yourself, you're not comfortable with yourself. And the only way to be confident in yourself is to become comfortable with yourself. And you become comfortable with yourself by allowing yourself to express yourself. No matter what it is. And there should not be any person, parameter, or reason why you don't. Zero. Because that's counterproductive and counterintuitive to what the soul is designed to be here for in the physical world. It's designed to express. An expression is a positive, expansive energy. And when you silence yourself and you hold yourself back, you're compressing it. You're suffocating the self, the soul, which leads to anxiety, depression, anger, all these different, I would say, heavy, dense emotions it leads to. And so I think it's important now during these times, especially with the eclipse, that we look into and start reflecting on the different versions of ourselves, the past, the present, where we're going, what we feel, what we need to express, what we're not expressing. What is our worth? Are we expressing any worth? Are we putting any value out to anyone, anything? And if we are, what is it? If we're not, what should we be doing? These is the reflection periods that we need to be having right now as the tides change. As the movement increases in the collective, as it will, because 2025 is a year of movement, so, and when we focus on this, we will then be in charge and feel like we're driving the show. We're in control of our destiny, because we created our purpose before incarnating. So you know what it is on the soul level. Got to dive into that. But the hunger and desire to want to know more about yourself is what spirituality is. I don't care whatever woo-woo practice people talk about. If they're not talking about getting to know more of the self on the soul level from your previous incarnations, this incarnation, and where you're headed to, it ain't spiritual. I don't care how many times you said your Hail Marys, and I don't care how many times you've done your manifestation courses and techniques and rituals. They ain't going to do nothing. It ain't going to happen. Nothing's going to happen. Because spirituality is development of the self, development of the spirit. And the spirit is the version of this physical persona, which derives from the soul. The soul has been through every spirit expression that we've had, every lifetime we've had. So you want to reach down to that soul, the core, the nucleus of who you are. And then that's where things become, oh, I see, I get it, I can, I will, I am. All of that. All right. So, Iggy, I sent you number 11. Iggy, get on. Let's get you backstage, Iggy, because we want to bring Iggy on now because we want to talk about, what does this eclipse energy mean? What energies is the eclipse going to be bringing forth, and how is that going to change? Will it affect anything? I know we hear a lot of, chatter, sensationalism when it comes to, a lot of the energies with the retrogrades and the eclipse. But is it true? Is it true? So let's bring on Iggy, can't you see? And see what Iggy has to say about it. Let me let my vie here. Iggy, what's going on, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Doing good, man, doing good. So, first of all, how have you been feeling this week? Has this week been kind of heavy for you? Like, what's the week been for you?
You know what? I gotta say, fuck daylight savings time. This is the first year in like 5 where I felt it pretty badly, physically at least. Sunday, I was basically an hour behind. I couldn't catch up no matter what I did, even with my spiritual tools, and that bled into Monday, where, work day. So that was fun. playing a little bit of hooky from work, having to make some excuses, but I did what I had to do.
There you go. See, my partner is also Aqua, and I don't know. He gets thrown off by any type of like 1 hour difference, or if he travels to. I'm like, dude, like I adjust. I'm like, all right, it's now 9 o'clock. I got it. So I don't know if it's some Aquas have an issue with that, adjustment. So it's funny that you have the same thing as he does. My partner, he's also Aqua. But what can you tell us about like this whole eclipse thing? I know so many people. We hear so much crap. Sensationalist crap on TikTok, online, really talking about, how these energies are transformative, and a lot of it just ends up just sounding cliche and generalized. But like, what's your take? Because I know you're very deep into like the true, accurate astrology. Because every time I talk to you, you always correct me too. Because I'm a newbie at astrology. I'm the psychic medium here, But so what's your take on that?
Well, it's a Virgo lunar eclipse, but you can't talk about Virgo without talking about Pisces, its opposite sign. That's really, really important now, not just because of the Pisces season, but you got to go back to the Pisces new moon, end of February. That's where it all began, at least for the next couple months. We had a tremendous amount of Pisces transits back then, a couple of weeks ago, and that hasn't happened since about February, March 2013. So for those of you with pretty good memories, think back to what was going on for you, February, March 2013. Definitely certain, a certain like a type of rewind back to then to see what was going on. And then that Pisces new moon a couple of weeks ago was like a spiritual beginning. It was a new, at least like an appetizer of sorts for a new spiritual foundation. And that's
interesting. That's interesting because when I think back to 2013, that's when Spirit pushed me to make my spiritual gifts public. Because I didn't want it to be public. I'm like, no, like I'm a psychic medium, but I'm a composer, and and I when I think back to that time, 2013 is where I decided to. So I got pushed to. Actually, I didn't decide to. Spirit's like, do this, and yeah, my life completely, just a complete different dichotomy. I was not preparing what was in store in that sense, and to be here. So yeah, I would say for me, 2013 was that for me around that time. So that's interesting. So is that similar to this time around too?
It basically harkened back to then, but the Pisces new moon we just had end of February was a whole new beginning, a whole new spiritual foundation that springs us forward into, well, the lunar eclipse in a couple of hours, at least the peak. And this Virgo eclipse is really about, I could say a couple of different things, but two main things. It's letting go of our control freak nature. That's a big one right now, all over the place. And I would say it's about also bringing in the spirituality here on the earth, the physical, making the spiritual practical. So those two things are, I would say, the biggest things when I really look at the chart.
That's important. So so explain to me what this is here.
Yeah, so here's the little mini, I guess, astronomy lesson. So I just wanted to give like a quick overview. So what you're looking at is looking from Earth with the sun behind us, and we're looking at the moon basically crossing from right to left, not left to right, right to left, starting with the penumbral eclipse in like hour and 20 minutes, something like that. And then that traverses 6 hours all the way to the left side of the screen at the penumbral when it ends. The peak is at about 2:55 a.m. Eastern, which is like 11:55 p.m. Pacific. So depending where you're at on the Earth, but basically the red glow is because of the sun's wavelengths. The red wavelengths are the longest ones. Those interact with Earth's atmosphere, and those are the ones that get through and by Earth. And that's why we see this red hue. Other wavelengths don't pass through because they scatter in Earth's atmosphere. So that's why we have the so-called blood red moon. The sensationalism of it all, the naming. You gotta love it, right?
Yeah. So what can people expect? To, I would say, to feel, or what are some of the things that I would say, generally speaking, that people can anticipate that will be, I would say, a sensation, feeling, realization, anything of that nature that people can anticipate more on the spiritual level because of this eclipse and or what Neptune and Jupiter in retrograde too.
Right. So with Virgo, I like to talk in terms of shadow to light. So you got to talk shadow to light with both Virgo and Pisces. And with Virgo, the shadow of Virgo would be things like freaking out, being controlling, forcing things, wanting things to go your way on your schedule, with your efficiency, kind of, screw other people, time needed to go your way. The shadow of Pisces would be things like victimhood, shaming and blaming, escapism, head in the clouds, head in the sand, um, stuff like that. So if you find yourself so if you find yourself in either of those shadow aspects of either Virgo and Pisces, you might want to like take a step back and breathe, breathe into it, sit with it.
So it's basically even like take a step back and then take a stand, especially like making sure that because I think a lot of times when we're fighting against things too much, we're not taking a stand of what we should do to be taking a stand for ourselves. So we're so focused, busy of pointing the fingers at everybody else, and instead of taking a stand for what we truly desire. And so yeah, take a step back and then take a stand, so you understand what your true heart is in. So yeah, I think that's great. It's wonderful in that sense. How long can we expect, I would say, the ripple effect from this? And it's not just, I know, just of course, the blood moon, eclipse. It's also because of what's in retrograde. What do you sense, kind of just like signing it off on this, like what people can anticipate, generally speaking, as far as how should they approach retrogrades? A lot of people get scared. They blame it on they blame retrogrades on everything. Oh, it's retrograde. Oh no. They panic. And you and I talked about before how people just always see the negative side of things, like danger, retrograde. So what can you tell those who maybe are not so in the depth of astrology, when they hear retrograde, what is a good advice for them to take away how they can approach it?
Right. So, astronomically speaking, a retrograde is just the apparent backwards motion that's not really happening. But astrologically speaking, retrogrades are a time, it's basically hitting the pause button. It's a time to go inwards, fundamentally. Now, the type of retrograde, like we're going to have the Mercury retrograde on Saturday. And Mercury also rules this Virgo eclipse. So that means basically a time to think about what are you thinking about? What's on mental replay? What are your mental loops? What kind of stories you keep telling yourself? What kind of limiting negative beliefs do you have about yourself, the world around you? What are you expecting from people? What are you demanding from people? Like, what's going on in your mind? Like, definitely hit that pause button and really question what's going on there. That's what you do with at least the Mercury retrograde to come.
Yeah. And that's fine, because that's kind of what the collector read was saying too, because I think people get so, even though they try not to be hung up on the past, they repeat it unconsciously because they're not confronting it. They're not not shifting it. They're not transforming it. So, I like to say too, basically, so you and I are same position on that. I love to say retrogrades are time for that. Redefining, reshaping, and a lot of times that could be positive for a lot of people, that intense energy, but I think the avoidance is what creates the negative aspect during those times too, because I think it's all power, right? It's all power that we can utilize in our atmosphere. So I thank you for coming on and explaining the whole eclipse energy, and you simplified it, right? And so what can we expect next before we sign off with you? Is that what's the next, I would say, astrological boom that we can expect this year? Is there any other ones that are significant?
There's plenty, but I'll keep it to March. Basically, we're preparing for the end of this month. We have the Aries solar eclipse, and then we have the next day we have Neptune entering Aries temporarily for the first time in about 165 years, and that's basically harkening back to the U.S. Civil War. So we're not going to have another U.S. Civil War the way it happened back then. It'll be just a different flavor. Because when you understand astrology through spirituality, it's basically things spiraling upwards. So you think you're getting a circle, right? But it's more like a slinky. I wish I had a slinky. Yeah. You pull it apart,
right?
See that point all the way vertically up and down, but it's never the same thing. So there's stuff happening, patterns repeating throughout history.
Right.
It's from this Pisces new moon that we had end of February to this Virgo lunar eclipse we're gonna have. It's prep work for Aries energy, prep work for the remainder of this Pisces energy. Basically a new spiritual story. New spiritual empowerment, grounding it in, bringing it to earth. And I would say not necessarily separating the spirituality from the day-to-day, really fusing two, right? Fusing the two.
Yeah.
Your spiritual tools, your day-to-day habits, behaviors, patterns, habits, routines, fusing them together, making the best of them. Not necessarily saying, okay, I'll do my meditation in the morning over here and then go to work. I'll pretend like nothing happened. Or, I think we're moving away from that. We're more fusing
Oh, totally.
spirituality and the practicality of it all.
Totally. And I also feel even with Aries, it's rising a lot more leaders. It's going to bring up a lot of leaders, so those you watching who, want to get into light working or start your light working practice, like it's time to take the lead on that. And I've been noticing that with my clients too, like them really starting their new businesses, new spiritual practices now too. So yeah, I think that those of you who are watching, now's the time, like, the universe, spirit, whatever you're going to call it. I always say spirit because we're all soul consciousness. But it's time that our collective is rising a whole new board and I would say group of leaders and leadership, not just for our phony collective, Hollywood shit, but even we need spiritual leaders that are new too, that have a new perspective and more down to earth with spirituality. Isn't that funny, huh? A lot of times I find myself demystifying a lot of people's mysticisms, as a mystic, So I agree with that, and so I think, brother, you should definitely get on board that train too, Iggy. Maybe I don't know how much you do you do astrology for others, but I would recommend you get out there, start hitting the pavements with it too, and bringing your perspective on it.
Yep. It's all in the works.
Good, because because there's like others doing the same thing, we need like way more of the same, and we got to saturate that. So I appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights, and hopefully we can have you back on and do some more updates, astrological updates, and you can teach me more, my noob self.
Yeah, I gotta say, everybody, don't worry, don't freak out. Like, there's nothing necessarily bad in astrology. It's shadow to light, and where do you find yourself within that, and then what do you want to do with it? Do you want to be better, or do you want to stagnate?
I love it. Thank you, Iggy, and thank you for being also a great addition to our chats. Because it's no big deal.
No big deal.
All right, brother. Have a good night. We'll see you in the chats. Thanks for coming on, man.
Yep. Yeah, no
Ciao.
Bye.
And see, two aquas in a room. I mean, how can you resist? But, and this is why I love Iggy so much, because it's being rational and spirituality. And this is going to lead quickly into the topic, and we'll get into live reads. And we have a wonderful message from Nina coming too. And I'm going to simplify the spiritual woo-woo stuff because, we need to not be so in the clouds thinking. We have to be rational, and rational is an energy state too. And it doesn't mean that you're just thinking just from the head. Being rational means that you're coming from the perspective of balance, and rationale is the mental example of what balance really is, and understanding the yin and the yang and looking at things very objectively. So that's what spirituality does bring to the table. So we have to be spiritual with spirituality too. And I have a lot of people who don't really believe in spirituality, or even skeptics, and they're being overly mystical about things in their life they're not aware of. And I laugh a lot of times with a lot of these cases, and I say to people, like, here I am, a psychic medium, mystic person, helping to demystify your own experiences and be more logical about things, And I think a lot of times this brings a lot of confusion, because a lot of the spiritual woo-woo crap out there that, somehow being spiritual means that you can manifest things out of thin air, like the manifestation stuff. That's very spiritual woo-woo, in a sense. There's truth wrapped in lies. You can't just manifest stuff because you thought about it. Thought is a beginning process, a beginning formula of allowing yourself to be on board intellectually with something you want to express. And the expression is what manifests. So the spiritual woo-woo of like, oh, I thought the wrong thing, or, the positive, negative bullshit, that's a spiritual woo-woo bull crap, which actually creates bad juju. Because if you're so in contempt of thinking negatively or thinking outside the box, or only had to be like a toxic positive person, you're not experiencing the dynamic that you came to experience, which life has to offer, and you're not allowing yourself to process emotion, which even removes the sense of life being poetic. See, through all my trials and tribulations, so to speak, when I look back, my story becomes very poetic because of those circumstances, the emotions that it rendered from me, the experiences and the self-realizations that I've possessed because of my past experiences makes my life very poetic. And there's a theme. But if I was my whole life, nope, I got to think positive all the time, just positive stuff. Oh, that's negative, low vibration. I would not experience anything but just avoid. And that also fails to attract people in your life that would be sufficient enough to sustain a soul connection, because you're not expressing any dynamic. And many people express dynamic in their life. Many people have ups and downs and so forth. If you just don't have any downs, then you're going to push people out of your life, and you become very arrogant. I see a lot of spiritual communities, people in the spiritual communities become very arrogant, very pompous, and judgmental because someone is in a down tick of their life. Hate to break it to you, that's what a wavelength is. An uptick and a downtick, an uptick and a downtick. That's a wavelength. Flat line is no life, no movement. But if you can't handle the downticks in your life because it's low vibration, it's negative, well, clearly you don't understand the dynamic to life. You do not understand how to nurture a downtick moment in your life, in your experience. That's a problem. And that means you're trying to keep your head in the sand and keep things safe, and use spirituality, woo-woo-isms, as an excuse to remain detached. Spirituality is looking at everything and understanding the purpose of everything and all that is, because that's what God is. God is all that is. So if you want to be more like God, you'd understand what all that it is and what it means, and why there's expressions of things that even you detest. There's reasons for that. There's karmic cycles for that. But see, the spiritual woo-woo shit doesn't want to tell you about that. Put your head in the sand and manifest 5,000 times in your journal about how much you want to acquire some material object. Brain dead, right? So you want to get out of that. And, the whole thing about like 5D Earth has been overly sensationalized too, about, we're all going to like disappear. Almost like that is like the new age version of the biblical rapture. Oh, we're heading to 5D. We're going to like evaporate and turn into light bodies, and our bodies, we're going to resurrect and go to this new world. It's like, that's not what 5D Earth is. When you're in 5D Earth, you're even more present in this Earth that you're in now. Hate to break it to you, when you become 5D perspective, you're more grounded in this Earth that you're already in, that you chose to be in. The problem is with a lot of these spiritual woo-woo bullshit ideologies and perspectives and theories is that it's trying to remove the participant from the physical world. It's trying to continuously disassociate your existence in this physical world. That's the complete opposite of spirituality. The complete opposite. We're learning through density. The more spiritual I become, the more human I am able to express myself as. And the more spiritual I become, the more I can actually understand the density, the more I actually can accept the density, the more I can actually maneuver and evolve through the density. I'm not in contempt of it. And so many people, a lot of people say, I'm not coming back here. Well, you probably are. Because if you have a resistance that you just don't like it here, well, chances are you got to come back in until you do. Because you're not objective. You're trying to escape all the time. And if you're trying to escape physical reality, you're escaping your own expressions, your own soul purpose. But you see, the spiritual woo-woo communities, when they talk about manifestation and law of attraction, all this stuff about high positive, low vibe, they never once mentioned soul or spirit. Do they ever talk about soul or spirit? Because I believe they removed spirit out of spirituality. Don't fall into that. And sometimes being spiritual means you're getting your hands dirty. You're being gritty. You're being abrasive sometimes when you're doing a spiritual purge or a spiritual realization. It's not always pretty. And we got to avoid these cliches. Because these cliches become like bumper stickers, and then we start becoming brainwashed by bumper stickers that we don't actually become our own expression. We don't become our own person any longer. We're just a whole bunch of people parroting information. That's not unique. We all are here to have a unique expression, and when you follow that, then you understand all the spiritual woo-woo stuff is, there needs to be a change in the New Age communities, massive overhaul in the New Age communities. It's a dump. It's crap. There's a lot of great people out there doing great things, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of garbage out there. So 5D is a perspective of seeing things for what they are objectively, that you're not affected by it. That's what 5D perspective is. You're not looking at things through a 2D lens any longer. You're existing in 3D, but you can see all the non-physical energies or non-physical connections of why things are the way they are, and you can see the purpose and the means behind it, which is psychic awareness and psychic ability anyway. That's what 5D is. But you're even more focused in physical reality, not detached in some la-la land earth, some spiritual woo-woo nonsense. And we have to also be careful with healing, guys, and healers. Because, if you have health karma and you're destined to have health karma, a healer is not going to take it away. And as those who are healer and practitioners of healers need to understand what need to be healed. And where to target the actual essence of what needs to be healed of recognition. There are many people who cleared out karma, but they still have physical residue or physical behaviors, and so healing would be appropriate in those circumstances of healing the body. And so, but they also have to kind of clear out the patterns of the karma they cleared, because a lot of times we clear out karma or trauma, but we still have the patterns that we still are stuck with that we gotta let go of. So healing is actually rewiring those patterns, is what healing is really should be. And then also allowing ourselves to heal on the physical levels too, with guidance. But this whole spiritual woo-woo thing of like, move your body this way and just like hold it this way to releasing all this stuff. And it's like, I see a lot of garbage like that, some of you might know what I'm talking about. And although it's good to be in tune with the body, that's just another extension of the soul. Just like as the mind is another extension of the soul. We can get it in order, but we have to understand now then how to let the soul express. Right? If these ideologies or these ideas or theories really, really worked and were law, then they would not fail. It wouldn't be conditional. So for example, there's a level of healing that we need to understand that, the body is designed to heal itself, but sometimes things go too far physically that you just can't heal. And that means like you cut off your arm, the arm's not going to grow back. Understand the parameters and the limitations of physical, how deep and density have things have gone that the spiritual woo-woo energy is not going to fix. You're going to have to start working on deeper levels and understand deeper meanings of things. And sometimes the meanings of lessons could be fuck off to people. Is that positive and love and light? No. But it's what's true, what's needed. A lot of spiritual communities are just woo-woo. They don't want to look at the truth. They don't want to know the truth. It's all about just light energy, love energy, just light energy, love energy, light energy, love energy. That's all it's about. Happy, 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 love, 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 love. That's all it's about. But they're defining love all wrong. Love is just about expanding. Love is about, it's an expressive, connected energy. That's what love is. It's not about like, I'm going to be smiley 24/7. I'm just going to embrace everything that comes my way. That's not love. That's delusion, which is negative energy. So I don't care how much smiles that you got, how many woo-woo spiritual phrases you're saying, you're in negative energy because you're separated from the true self and you're separate from the truth. Negative energy is a separating, disconnecting energy. So your smiles, your woo-woo repeating spiritual quotes, you're negative energy. You're disconnected from truth. You're disconnected to your actual soul purpose. So you ain't doing anything. If you're offended by what someone says, negative energy. Because although you might not like what someone says, you'll understand, well, they have the right to say it, but I understand why they're saying it. I get where they're coming from. I wouldn't say it that way, but I get why they're saying it this way. Everyone has a story. Everyone has a reason for things. You can start seeing the pathways. And you start reading, and what I start to recognize that most people are not ill-intended at all. A lot of people are just reactive. All people are just reactive. If you understood why they're bad behaviors and what was the stimulant of why they're reacting, of the way they're behaving, you'll probably understand, like, what? If I've been through what they've been through, I'd react the same way. But all that spiritual woo-woo nonsense doesn't want to tell you that. Oh, they're not evolved. They're not ascending. Cut them out. They're not ascending. It's like, do we need to cut people out of our lives sometimes? Sure you do. If they're parasites, you might have to cut it out. Sure, for your own well-being, for your own survival, of course. But this whole idea that they're not ascended, or I met someone who's not as spiritually inclined as I am, but I don't know if I should date them. It's like, well, what does that even mean? They could be more spiritual than you unconsciously than you are spiritual consciously. Because spirituality is knowing the self, acting from your true nature. So your partner might be more spiritual than you because they're acting from their true nature versus you because you're studying it. Let's think correctly about the spiritual woo-woo bullshit. Understanding quantum physics isn't spiritual, doesn't do anything for your spiritual growth. I hate to tell you. Doesn't fix anything. You can dive deep into that, but that's not spirituality. It's good to understand probability and possibilities. That's fun. That's great. That's fantastic. But people have been lumping that in. Oh, they're spiritual because they understand the hieroglyphics of the neurological neurons and the electrons that go this way, all there, the quantum experience. And I'm spiritual now because I understand this technology and how the physical reality works. It's like, no, you don't. When you understand how you work, nothing else matters. When you understand like what your purpose is here and what you're willing to express and your mission, and you check that box and you evolve, that's all that matters. Everything else becomes like, yeah. I don't care about the proton, neutron, double slit experiment. God, I was into that shit myself. So I'm talking of things I've been. I'm talking about things I've done. I used to be that person, so wrapped up in quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and and that's the reason why things manifest. If you look at it, I've been there, done that. Didn't do anything. Didn't solve my problems when I had a massive breakdown. Didn't solve my problems when my trauma resurfaced. Didn't solve my problems when I had to confront karma. Did none of that stuff. If anything, made it harder because I thought, well, I could just wish it away. I can manifest it away. Hit rock bottom again, emotionally, because of spiritual woo-woo bullshit. I'm not thinking right. That's why it's happening. I'm just not thinking right. Just beating yourself up again. Beating yourself up. I'm just not positive. I'm not desiring it enough. Everything that happened in my life, most of the things that happened in my life that are awesome, I didn't think about. I didn't project. I didn't try to manifest. Many of you guys who know me that understand that my goal is not to be a reader or even remotely on YouTube or online. I did not want any of that. I'm like, I'm a psychic medium, I'm mystic, but that's secret to me. I don't want anyone to know that. I don't want to prove anything to people. I don't want to explain things to people who are too, closed-minded to understand the power. I said, I don't want to deal with that shit. I don't want to be responsible for people. I dealt with enough of people with my abuse I experienced in my life. I don't need any more of that crap. But somehow life manifested me here, being a professional reader for 12 years, making a great living, loving it, teaching, mentoring, from what I've evolved from. How'd that manifest? I didn't want it, didn't think about it, but life pushed me in that direction. But you know why? Because I was always honest and true to what I know I needed to do, what I needed to do next. And I followed those callings, the intuitive responses, the soul expressions, the soul callings. I followed it all the time, and it led me here. I didn't think about it. So it's not about your thoughts and what you're thinking. I mean, that's part of the equation, like when you want to be conscious, but it's about what you're feeling. And using your analytical brain to analyze, what am I feeling? Where's this associated to? Do I want to feel this? Do I need more? And doing that inner work, that's spirituality. I don't care how many times you say fuck. I don't care how many times you have, one night stands. It doesn't matter. No one cares about that shit. No one cares about what you're dressed, what you're wearing, what you're saying, what you're not doing. No one cares. No one cares what your politics are. Spirit doesn't care. None of that matters. What matters is, are you expressing your purpose or are you not? Because the rest just fades away when you die. When you cross over all this stuff, zero, no value. You start reflecting and saying to yourself, I wasn't being true to myself. I actually did not express anything that I felt or want to express. I got to hop back in and do it again. You guys want to continue that pattern? We're evolving in our collective species to understand we're sick of repeating the same mistakes. So that's why a lot of you say, I don't want to reincarnate again here because, well, you better learn the lessons in this incarnation so you don't have to. So you can evolve from it. Even that's a choice too. Even reincarnating is a choice. Now that we're conscious of that, we're evolved enough as soul conscious, a lot of you guys here, that we can make that choice. And when we evolve out of this physical domain, we're going to want to come back if we didn't learn it, because that's where we're at in our soul evolution. Your physical brain may not, but your soul's like, I want to go back and get it. I want to get it again. Don't be unconscious that way because of the spiritual woo-woo bullshit, because that creates bad juju. That creates bad energy. That keeps you stuck. It keeps you in the wheel of reincarnation, the reincarnation loop. That keeps you bound to physicality as you're pretending like your head is in the clouds and detached from physicality. You're bound to it. So you're in this constant state of delusion and dichotomy and contradiction. It's about your purpose, and that's it. Keep it simple. All right. All right. Now let's get to the live readings. But before that, we have a wonderful message from Nina.
Hey crew, I got a channel message just for you, tapped in fresh. When I was tapping in, I kept getting this imagery of being able to move out of avoidance and fear and into more of an exploration out of trust and a sense of internalized safety. I just kept seeing this imagery of grounding, you grounding your energy down into the earth and not being afraid of experiences anymore and pushing them away, but also not jumping into experiences that could be a situation for you. Either way, your guides are showing me that it's so time to radically trust yourself. So radically time to trust your intuition and use your discernment, not out of fear, but out of the most ultimate self-love for yourself that you can foster right now.
Nina, that was so short. That was going to be longer than that. God, give me more time to like resituate. I want you to talk more. Give me a sermon for a minute. That was so quick. But it's true, and it was very fitting with our collective message. You know, so yeah, and sometimes we got to go with the. I mean, I love what you said about the wind, and you know, I think you said it before too in another message today. I saw you talk about like just going with the flow, and if things are a little messy and out of order, let them be. Sometimes, you know, it's like perfectly imperfect, you know, so that's really come from the true version of self too. So love it, Nina. As always, thank you, my lovely mod and friend and soul sister and family, all above. All right, let's get to these live readings, and because I need to get to bed early tonight, we're gonna close them down now. So. Nina, if you can make a notation that we're just, you know, they're closed for now because I got to get to these and we're going to keep it a short night tonight. Wait a minute. How many do we have? I'll keep it for another 5 minutes. So if you want a question in, guys, get them in now because I'm going to close them down in 5 minutes. If I could actually put the banner up. There. Okay. All right. So yeah, Nina, announce that 5 more minutes. To get the readings in, yeah, and then I'm going to close them down because I need to have an earlier night tonight. Kathleen Prentice, I am at a Y point on my path and having to decide if I will be going back to my airline job in West Yellowstone, Montana for summer season. Technically, I said yes for now, but I feel like something is going to come in to catapult me elsewhere. Any psychic insight? It's funny because before you told me that you said yes, I saw you doing it. No, nothing's going to stop it to prevent it. I think that this experience doing so will launch something else. It will catapult you into something else, right? By doing it. So that's what I feel like. So you're kind of on board saying like, if I go back to the airlines, I feel like someone's going to distract and catapult me. No, doing this experience for the summer and just kind of, you know, getting around and being around people and so forth. I think it's going to launch more for you in that. So doing it is going to catapult you into something else, you know, for post summer and moving forward. So you should do it. I think it's great. And I think it's all the above. It's this and that. It will catapult into something because you've done it. You know what I'm saying? That makes sense. So I don't feel anything deterring in it, you know, stopping that from happening. No, as it shouldn't. You're going to experience that, and that will experience itself. So I'm just repeating myself at this point, so we'll keep it there. Nothing additional from that, but so yeah, I would say enjoy it and allow yourself to make the connections that you need to be making there at that point. So, okidoki, artioki, pretty simple on that one, right? All right, next is Sophia, card pull. I'm trying to put the questions first. A lot of them, I'm trying to do it because they paid more, but I also want to give more variety and switch it around a little bit, but still keeping it true to like the time frames that people, you know, have been sent them in and all that jazz. I don't know about all that. Ooh. Look at this, Sophia. I feel move. I don't know if you're moving or if you're anticipating moving. There will be a move. So if you're thinking about it, it's confirmation. If you ain't thinking about it, it's a revelation. Hold on a second. Oh, my green screen almost fell too. Almost knocked my green screen down. This is all about being victorious and moving on with a new mission. So I feel like you released something that was holding you back, or there's an energy that's bringing newness in that's not allowing past energies or influences to hold you back. So, and the Four of Wands is my new home card. Hard card is like home card. And so I think you are moving forward. I think you are moving forward to your home and relocating, especially with the Four of Pentacles coming next to it. This is really all about like acquiring material wellness and material wealth in a sense. So not that you're hitting a lottery this year, but I feel like that you will start noticing that maybe money is going in favor. You start having more of a comfortable experience, materialistically and financially. And I feel like a lot of this is because you've let go of past circumstances that have been holding you back and you're moving forward for the self. So, if you're anticipating move, consider that confirmation. If you haven't been anticipating, well, it's coming. See, that's how I should package the card pulls. It makes it easier on me. It's good, effective, and short and to the point. Because sometimes I just go on too much. I'm like, well, because it's random. My Virgo rising's like, it's random, let me solidify it, But I'm more aqua these days, so you're going to get aqua. A lot of you guys got a lot of Virgo. My Virgo rising. I miss my aqua side. It's very flowing. It's very, I'm not thinking too much. Look at jeez Louise. Is this for real? You seriously got two of the same cards, Stephanie. Stephanie Panahar. Her name is Panahara, but I just say Panahar. Star card, star of the show. This is, to me, you starting a new business. Your business is, you're on fire. Recognition. I feel this is in the business environment only because the Four of Pentacles, you also get the Four of Pentacles too, and got the Four of Pentacles and Four of Wands. So I literally just shuffled this and you got the Four of Pentacles and Four of Wands too, and also the Six of Wands. So you basically got the same three cards the last current got, and I shuffled these things, but the Star card, but it's a little different for you. I feel like this home is representing a real estate contract or real estate energy, right? That could anticipate a move maybe, but it's more emphasizing real estate for me, new investment property, new connections, selling homes, and especially the Four of Pentacles next to that is like investment and making money on that investment with the home. And moving forward is a success. So this is more about, this is moving forward. Yeah, it's for you, but it's all about success and victory in your connections. In the real estate, because it's always my real estate card, the Four of Wands, as well as with the way it's coming in order. So you're going to shine with your investments, baby, and be victorious on that. So this is like really good confirmatory energy of success. And so if you're trying to sell a property or you had a contract for a property, it's going to sell, so stop being in loss. You worry too much about like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Am I going to lose this contract? Stop with that crap. No one needs to cry and whine. Say, like, if it goes off, something else is better. Like, we always got to have modality of, I will be strong no matter what. I would be successful no matter what. Like, it's going to work in my favor because I say so. I'm going to make it work in my favor. And if it doesn't connect, it didn't need to. It's not for me. Next, right? Stopping that lost energy. You might have two contracts, two, options or two major connections. They may have to pick between, or maybe do both, So I don't want to hear any complaints or any fears of what if. No, that's not warranted here. Okay? Deal. Embrace it, receive it. Because the Star card is someone who's on fire. Girl's on fire. Isn't that a song? This house is on fire. What song is that? Was that Something on Fire? I have the bad version this something else is on fire, but it's explicit. But I don't know if I've got the real song. It is. Okay, next is Susan Willen. Interesting. The cards are very loud today. Good. They need to be. Okay, So that's right, Alicia Keys, right? This world is on fire or something. I forgot what the song was. Susan, you got the four of swords. Something swords. Four of swords. You like my new house behind me, guys? I just moved. It's my new home. It's my new foyer. That's my foyer. The Four of Swords, and with the Lover's card, the Hermit card, Justice card, Ten of Pentacles. There's two things going on here. Okay, let's get real with it. First thing is self-care. Take care of your health. You know, stop being concerned about others around you. Stop trying to be all invested in other people's shit, other people's energies, other people's emotions, family emotions, those who you're supposed to care, be around. Okay, take a break from that. We got to focus on your health. Okay, not that I'm saying like you're sick and things are going like horribly wrong. We're saying, but you need to focus on your health. Even healthy people focus on their health. Okay, but it's time for some self-care and time for setting some boundaries and isolation. Okay. And when the Lover's card comes in between this, you know, it's always saying that you're putting relationships in the middle between your well-being. Like you're putting like everything else is in between your happiness and your well-being. So that's why the Lover's card came between this. It doesn't mean like, oh, it's like all about love and love. No. So you're letting your relationships and those that you love get in the middle, get in the way of yourself and get in the way of your healing and your health and feeling better. Now, alternately, when I got the Justice card and the Ten of Pentacles, this is saying that there might be some sort of legal issue that you actually win on or get money on. So it could be an inheritance, because this Ten of Pentacles is always an inheritance card. Psychically, I feel like there's some sort of additional money that's coming to you in that sense. That's from like a legal case or legal matter. Nothing major, but just some sort of legal issue that will work in your favor, that you get some extra income on to use to take care of yourself. So I would nurture yourself when you get that extra money or whatever that happens from whatever that legality is. But most importantly is it's focusing on your own well-being and disassociating yourself from everybody else's stuff and start focusing on your own health and ask yourself, how much are you focusing on your health? And if you're not, why? Remember, even healthy people focus on their health. I focus on my health too. Focus doesn't mean you obsess. Focus means that you're nurturing, you're taking care of. That should be your focus. And I'm shutting down these readings. So, those y'all who missed the boat. Next time. Or book a one-on-one session with me. Okay, let's go to my PayPal. Okay, so we have Beth Lassue, Beth L, as we'll say. As we all love our Beth, and we love the Beth saga. We love the Beth soap opera. We love hearing about the Beth soap opera. So here we go. Beth asks, last week you said that the smelly man that I've asked about before was intimate with someone I knew. Is she a tall blonde? For how long? When was the last time? Does he love her or me? Would he give her up so we can start over? Second question. Well, hold on. That was about 4 questions there, Beth. So we got about 4 questions, and now you say second question. That was about 4 questions there. So here's the 5th question. You put second question. This is now the 5th question. The man I'm meeting for dinner tonight, does he have any secrets that I would want to be aware of? Thank you, Scott. God bless you. Well, my love, I think God needs to start blessing you with these relationships, because... And I know, Beth, you're laughing with me, so that's why I understand. Because I know Beth has a sense of humor. So you know, because I've read Beth before. She's had a sense of humor. But let me see with this. So the smelly man with that, it does feel like a tall blonde, but like the hair, this woman's hair feels like very fluffy or just bouncy. I don't know why. So I feel like that. The last time, again, I really can't pick up on the last time with that, because I feel like he's like so sporadic. So I really can't read a timing on that last connection, but I could say within the last 3 to 4 months. I could say that. But I don't think he loves anyone. You know, I really think that love is, you know, different. Good night, Linda Jane. I'm glad I got you on your way out. Thanks for showing up. Have a wonderful, beautiful night. See you next week. I just definitely want to acknowledge that. But yeah, Beth. So again, it feels like it could be 3 to 4 months that he has, and his aspect of love is not what you would maybe define love to be. And everyone listen to this. When people say, "Oh, but did he love me? Did he care about me?" Let's look at it in this context, because the answer isn't so simple as yes or no. If you were to measure your ability to love between 1 and 10, 10 being the strongest emphasis of how hard you love and what you find to be true about love, and you do the same with them, their level of love between 1 and 10, his 10 is probably like your 4 or 5. So he's not going to do or represent what you define love to be. So he might, in his own way, yeah, I love her, sure, I love her too, and that's his definition. But it doesn't match yours. That's what matters. So he could tell you he loves you. He can say all that stuff, but I just don't feel like he's really acting it and behaving in it the way he should be. He's just one of those people that just says the right things. Now, your fifth question is because I said 2 questions. The man I'm meeting for dinner tonight, does he have secrets that I want to be aware of? Sure, there's secrets, but I think this guy might be more on the boring side and more on the weird side, but definitely feels less scuzzy as this last interest. But I have to go back to about a year ago, Beth, when I helped you out of your divorce. I'm just going to say this like this. And I remember saying to you about finding your value, finding your voice. And at that time, you were struggling about having your voice. You found your voice. You left that relationship. And I remember I said to you, your problem is going to be you're going to have too many options. You're going to have a hard time deciphering who to pick. Here you are right now, having a hard time deciphering who you pick on this dating excursion that you're on, or expedition that you're on. Before, you couldn't even speak and use your voice because of the contentious energy you had in the relationship. And you're out, and now this is you're having issues finding the right person. So I told you so, and that's a typical thing as a psychic we say. But I say that in love because I want you to understand what your challenges are now is just picking the right energy. So, again, use your voice, understand what you need, define what love means for you, and if people don't match it, don't entertain it. Okay, but I definitely feel like the dinner guy is better than this guy, energy wise. We can start there. Okay. But Beth, please keep us engaged with the saga because we love it, actually. C. Henry, Scott, you're amazing. Oh, thank you. I love compliments. Thank you. Well, actually, I don't love compliments, but when I get them, I appreciate them. How about that? So I love it because of that. I don't fish for them, but when I see a compliment, I'm like, oh, I love it. Thank you. The question is, I was accidentally injured again this weekend. The injuries to my throat, both inside and outside, resulted in my first ever ambulance ride while conscious. What messages am I missing? Starting tomorrow, I am attending one of the all-time favorite 3-day horse clinics and would love to feel well. Love horses trigger. Okay. All right. That's right. We had Friday night a session together. I think last week. It was a great session with you. I was halfway in. I realized, oh, it's Horses Triggers Hope. I didn't even know it was you until halfway in, I think. It was a great session. Here's one thing. This injury has nothing to do about what you're doing wrong and more about what you're picking up on and change. You got to protect yourself from external energies, my love. You have to protect yourself from the collective. I don't remember, please correct me if I'm wrong in the chat, if I told you in the session that I mentioned Nina having the same issue about being overly empathetic and just picking up too much on the collective and that affecting her abilities. And I think Nina could also verify she had similar issues in the throat too. I'm not trying to compare. I'm saying it's a very similar energy of you are so sensitive to collective energies that you have to protect yourself from the collective energies. And it can cause weird accidental things. It could cause, so I always say the throat chakra is also a symbol of not, really speaking your truth or holding things back, not allowing yourself to use your voice, as we were telling Beth. So yeah, I think that's what you should probably be doing, and looking at that. So yeah, if it wasn't you, it must have been somebody else. I said that to that day, but, I'm mentioning that now too because it could be helpful, that it's the same essence for you about absorbing external energies, and that can cause accidental things, clumsiness, but it's also there to shake us up, to redirect, and to even though we might be unconscious to what the lesson is, we do find it. you know. And so that could be you just, and also I think, too, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. But that also can mean too, my love, that sometimes in order for us, when we break a barrier, something like that will go awry too. That's like a side effect. Like you busted through a physical barrier and then something happens that disrupts the physical calibration. So that's the what you want to take heed on and moving forward. And that's awesome. I love that you're attending your all-time, horse clinic and all that great stuff. So I almost feel like that also prepared you for this new change and, for moving forward. So yeah, that is the message for me when I read on that. It's actually a pretty good one. In all honesty, I know the experience could suck, but like really kind of enjoy the experience. When I totaled my car and I got hit by a Suburban in my car and I T-boned me and I flipped it. I remember I was so out of it. Like I was making jokes in the ambulance. I was like, at the time, I was like, my hair is messed up. And I remember I was wearing, I worked at that time, I was like 20 years old. I worked for Banana Republic and Kenneth Cole. My Banana Republic shirt, they were both a stretch, ripped, but my Kenneth Cole stretch pants did not rip because I was dragging on the pavement when my car flipped. I was making jokes about it. And I was enjoying the circumstance. I was enjoying the situation, even though it was traumatic for me. So if we look at life in that way, we get to cherish these experiences instead of like be shaken up by them. We're just kind of like, I remember that. It become great stories and great experiences actually. And I remember that experience so well because I flipped in the car and I landed on my arm and my hand and my window was down and my body slid on the pavement when the car slid. And I landed on my body because it's so hard. I was not wearing a seatbelt. That my class ring, maybe I think those class rings were, it squashed my finger. It bent so hard, they had to cut it off. That's how hard the pressure is. Those class rings are thick. And I walked away with minor aches and pains. See these experiences. See these experiences as kind of like really fun experience, like really weird experiences, and just like take a piss on them. Yes. And my mom, exactly. My mom out here in the desert, she feeds the chippies when she goes hiking. And there was one day where she didn't, she was feeding the chippies weren't in there, and she went to go put food in the hole. It was a snake. She got bit by a rattlesnake. The odds of that. And, and my mom's in the ICU because they have to give her the anti-venom that transport her. My mom's like, the last time I was in the hospital when I gave birth to this one, she points to me. That was the last time she was in the hospital when she gave birth to me because my mom's healthy. She's a health nut. She's never in the hospital. She's never sick, never on any medications. And so, yeah, she was very kind of playful about the experience and, so that was funny too, that experience. And she was all over the news, like, it's funny that that's rare in the desert, but she was like a celebrity in the hospitals. Oh, you're the woman, so it was kind of funny. It was a funny experience. But yeah, look at things that way. Like when you have these experiences, because they're experiences for a reason. So if spirit's like, you have to have this experience, say, let me see why I thought this experience. Be inquisitive or curious about it a little bit. Watch what happens. Okay. Who's next? We did Beth, Angie. Oh no. Question, Cassandra. Bada bing, bada boom. Hi, Scott. So glad to catch you live. Oh, yeah. Have you not caught me live before? Hopefully you're still around. Watch me live through all this. But yeah, I'm glad you catch me live too, instead of replay. Okay. What's something that's obvious to most people that I've continued to be blinded to and not willing to see? Thank you, Advanced Darling. Let me see. What's something that's obvious to most people that I've continued to be blinded to? Okay. So something about yourself that you don't recognize that people are seeing about you. Is that correct? Cassandra? Like, is that what you mean? Like something about yourself that you do that you're not unaware of that people keep notice about you? Is that what you're asking? Make sure I got the question right. There's a lot. No, I'm kidding. I'm still kidding. Like, there's so many. I mean, we can say about everybody. There's so many. This comes as a surprise to me, Cassandra, because I know you're not this way, but sometimes it's like people think they're being heard by you. Okay? That's one thing. It's like, And you could be listening and hearing it, but maybe you're not validating them enough. Like maybe you're not saying, like, oh yeah, I feel that, or yes, you know what I mean? Because I know that you listen to people, but I don't think they're feeling like you're listening to them. So you might need to understand how to validate or to acknowledge when people are saying things about certain things, right? And I see a lot of people who, like, you know, they're processing information in their heads, and so someone will say something they're trying to process, so they're kind of in their head, and they forget they have to acknowledge the person. That's what I feel like. So I feel like people are not maybe getting any kind of validation or confirmation from you. You know, that sense. So and I know you are, and I know you take things to heart, but maybe just maybe you're being more conscious of how you're acknowledging it for people. That's all. This way they can connect with what's going on in your mind, and it connects with them, and then they don't feel like you've you know, lost focus on them or lost sight of them. That's what I feel like. I don't feel anything else really, you know. And even those people that feel it, I don't feel like they think that you're disinterested or you're not caring about them. I don't think that at all. It's just they might just feel uneasy that you might not be acknowledging or they don't feel heard the way they want to be heard. So, but it takes a great skill set to do that. It takes a great skill set to understand that, and that everyone needs a different response, you know, when we're listening to things or appeasing things. But I also want to say to you, you don't want to listen to too many people either. You know, you don't definitely want to be listening to too many people as well, but make sure that, yeah. So make sure when you're not in your head so much, make sure it's not taking you away from other things that matter too. You know, create some headspace time for yourself and let everything else be like, I would say live life without thinking, and then go home and think about it. Okay? Best advice. Live life without thinking, and then go home and think about how you live life. Watch how things change. But it's good that you're wanting to look at that, and you can recognize it. I think it's great change. It's good to change that. So, all right. Last but certainly not least is Angie Russell. I can never think of one question. Just want to see what comes through. I'm a Pisces, just turned 49, and wondering about my path. Thank you for all you do. Well, thank you. Wondering about your path. Well, that's a loaded question, like a loaded baked potato. But we'll see. I'm going to pull, because it's a card pull, so I'll pull cards on that one and see what the cards say. Yeah, but my love, remember this. Iggy and I talked about this. Because of whatever placement is a planet, doesn't prevent you from doing that. We can move the planets. It's an indication where you're at, right, with your planets. We can evolve that. And then we can say to ourselves, well, my Gemini sun is in Mercury, so that means like that could be like, it could be tough on you, or it could be one of your best skill sets. Remember, everything has a duality to it. Everything has a polarity to it. So a lot of people say, oh, my Neptune is here, I shouldn't move there. The energy is going to be crazy. But said, why you just assume crazy energy means bad? It could be crazy good, like a lot of activity, a lot of movement, right? So the fact that your Gemini or your Gemini and sun is in Mercury just means that it's something to focus on. It's something that's been challenging for you, but that can also be something that is one that becomes a great addition or expression for you. Don't let the placements indicate or try to be an excuse of why things are tough. It's just telling you what the placements are, where there needs to be focus or emphasis. That's all. It could be, if you don't put emphasis on that area, it could be difficult, or it could be one of your greatest assets. Remember this, guys, when it comes to your astrological placements. Explain what you've been challenged with, but also can reveal it, and it could then be your greatest asset. So that's the free will we have to convert and to change energy. I tend to think that when we change, so do our alignments and planets too, so. Crazy good as a keyboard need to. Okay, that makes sense too. Keyboard warriors don't usually listen to people. They're reacting to people. So yeah, be more a listener and validating of others, and then, state your point. So that makes sense. And I appreciate your honesty, and I appreciate your humbleness of saying that too. So, good things happen to those who acknowledge. So I'm very happy that you are. You'll change it. All right. So Angie is, okay. What's ahead for you at 49? 49.99. Okay, well, you said to yourself, whatever comes up in the cards, Tower card is change. But the Tower card is like massive change. It's like things are breaking down, things are changing, right? No, I mean, a lot of people like to emphasize, I put a lot of emphasis on the Tower card. Sometimes the Tower card will show massive change, but sometimes the Tower card comes in just an enlightenment. And most times when tarot card comes up, it's more about what stands out to me are the lightning bolts. The lightning bolt is all about enlightenment and a stroke of intellect, right? And illuminating the truth of things. So I really feel like, this time is for you is really kind of understanding more about the truth of yourself. Not so much about what your purpose is and what's ahead of you, but more so about what's within you. Sounds cliche, but really hear those words. There's a lot of cliches, bumper stickers that go around that makes the true statements lose its impact. It's not about what's going on outside of you and around you. It's about what's going on within you. Figure that out. What is going on within you? Ask yourself that question, right? And so Six of Swords is my traveling card, overseas travel or just travel in general. So it's time you need to take more travel. And I see more travel. And the traveling aspect also represents just tapping into different, locations, tapping into different cultures, tapping into different modalities of life, and just getting out and about and around, right? That's what I feel nexus for you in the head is just more travel. So, which creates more enjoyment, but I feel like this also garnishing more knowledge and insight into other aspects of the world and other aspects of life and people and also other aspects of you. So yes, traveling. My love. Hold on a second. I need to block out my Tuesday before my Tuesday gets fucking booked out too much. I think like 3 people just booked for a Tuesday, and I can only do more. I can't do any more than 4 a day. So this is really more about what's within you and getting out, travel, experience. And it could even be overseas. So that's more about excitement. It's interesting. I love that this is my anxiety card and like bad things happening and being pessimistic. And then this is all about the change. And then this is all about movement and like travel and free spirit energy and having a purpose. And, and so, that's what's next. So my thing is, again, focus on what is within. And I mean that like literally. Ask yourself, I heard it before. Yeah. What's within? It sounds cliche, but ask yourself, are you looking within yourself? Do you know what it is? You know how to look within yourself. Most people are like, no. I said, well, then just try it. And then you'll know. Look within. Ask yourself, what am I feeling inside? What am I feeling in the soul? We got to go there. And I feel a stroke of travel and just like letting your hair loose and be a free spirit energy. So good change in my opinion when I look at that. So, but again, a lot of that tarot card is representing enlightenment for me. A shift of ideas, a shift of perspective on things, prioritizing, so that's the change, and that's going to make you want to express. Well, that makes sense, and every change comes, and that's why I think, and that's good you say that too, because the Tower card, like I said, it's change, but this, in your case, wasn't drastic, it was enlightenment, so that makes sense. If you've been such a hermit, so isolated, and now you're doing some of that inner work and what's going on inside you, and what you feel inside and you express, you're going to get out of your shell and not be such a hermit and get out and do things more and travel. I'm not saying you to travel every freaking month. I'm saying this could be a thing that you're going to want to get out and do things and take a trip and take a vacation. And that becomes something you start frequently doing, getting out and about and creating movement, because it's also my movement card, So, so there's just change. And that will render so many other different variables of things that will manifest, circumstances, relationships, all the other stuff. That hides within that. And so that will be in a full read. You can get all the information, Bill. But all right, well, that concludes the readings. So before we head out, let's do a wonderful sound bath by Lafayette so we can unwind, head into a little bit of a meditative state, and then we'll close on up when we return, when we get back from that. So let's enjoy this 5 or 6 minutes of sound bathing. All right. Isn't that ethereal? Kind of puts you in another plane, another trance, I would say. Another reality. Nina laughs at me because every time after sound bathing, I get very I lose it. I can't talk, can't speak. I become all stupid. Anyways, I appreciate every single one of you guys for coming up for Thursday night. And if you get check out tonight's or this morning's LOL, check it out. We talked about, what did we talk about? The superstition effect. That was my title. Thank you very much. Which kind of went along with the lines of today's, topic. But, spirituality is meant to be simple. It's meant to be just an evolving of self. We don't need to be over encumber ourselves with all this saturation on TikTok and Instagram and social media about all these spiritual, false, fake bullshit ideologies. So keep it simple, stupid, right? Isn't that what they say? I appreciate every single one of you guys. And of course, March is booking up. So again, you want to get a one-on-one session with me, scottcruzpm.com. I will roll the commercial in a minute anyways. You'll get it there for one-on-one sessions. And we'll catch you next week. And if you guys have topics again of things you'd like for me to discuss, put them in the comments. Not in the chat here, but put it in the comments so I understand. And flood these lives and videos with comments. It helps the algorithm. YouTube's very picky. It takes a while for things to grow on YouTube, and I'm starting to push myself to get into that mode of like the video, share the I was never wanting to be that type of person, but I kind of have to if I want my message to go further and to create more message and all that great stuff. So help me by sharing, help me by liking, help me by commenting, and keeping the algorithm to notice the content here. I appreciate it. Keeps me intact, but I also want to be accessible to my clients, as well. And those who maybe can't afford a session with me can actually have other ways and outlets and so forth too. So, that's why I do what I do right here. And so, a lot of changes, a lot of great things coming this year too. So I'll keep you posted on that. And, until then, remember, you're all the gods and goddesses of your own myth. What do you want to create? Much love. I was thinking about, should I run a commercial or a song? I'll just run the commercial. Maybe I'll play a song next week. One of my songs. And if you want to hear my songs, Scott Cruz here on YouTube, Apple Music, Spotify, check out some of my tunes. Some great ones in there and some more coming. Good night, guys. Have a wonderful night. Much love.
Scott Cruz is popularly known for his life-changing one-on-one readings to also guide in your soul ascension journey. With life readings, get insight into your relationships, career, health, trauma healings, past life regressions, and more. Want to connect with a loved one who's transitioned? Scott's mediumship session can be the gateway to you and your loved ones in spirit, bridging the gap between the physical and the spiritual realm. If you want to enhance your own psychic ability, Scott's Intuition Builder session can help expand your psychic and mediumship abilities. So sign on to scottcruzpm.com to book your own personal session today.